Time to be positive. Best case scenario, Illinois fighting Illini. We did this exercise with Michigan State. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. That feels weird, but I'm just going to rock with it. We did this exercise
Stop.
with
Stop.
Michigan
Please.
State.
Please stop.
It's like the mummy thing, right? Like the
No, no, it's not like the mummy thing. It's like the mummy thing.
little too much zest there.
Just a little too much Jalen Ramsey for my liking.
Okay, well, we did this with Michigan State a couple weeks ago, and DK made us do this. Spartan Hoops DK. He made us go player by player and basically say what the best case scenario season would look like for them, and then add it all up and try to figure out what's the best case scenario for the team. Illinois is the first team we want to do this exercise for. We have been all over the map on how we feel about certain players on this team, on what exactly we think they're going to be. I kind of have them in bubble territory. I think I had them as a 9 seed. You had them as a 7 or an 8 seed, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly last week. So
Yeah, I think it was 7.
okay. So yeah, I think we both landed on we think they're a tournament team, but I still don't know who their best player is. So this could be a really fun exercise as we go guy by guy. Let's just work our way down the roster and identify what a best case season looks like for them. Starting with their starting point guard, we presume. Kylan Boswell. What does a best case scenario look like for Bam Bam Boswell?
Okay, this is positivity, right? There, I think the best case scenario for Kylan Boswell is that he's a first team All Big Ten guard.
That's really high, but maybe. Maybe.
I mean, if you think about it, the lock right now is Braden Smith, right? And the other lock is probably like what? Didn't we have Big Ten locks on Big Ten teams recently?
Yeah, there was a conversation, yeah.
Yeah, I think best case scenario is that Illinois is like a top team in the Big Ten, and that Kylan Boswell has a fantastic year when he's finally realizes that he doesn't have to play like a young guy anymore because he's a young guy.
What do the numbers look like if that's the ceiling?
I think he averages like 15 points a game, 16 points a game. Like he becomes one of the main scorers for Illinois and probably chips in at least 5 assists and 4 rebounds.
Okay, so I'm high on Kylan. First off, any best case season for him would start with he lists himself in the official roster as Bam Bam Boswell. No more Kylan. Like his name is Bam Bam Boswell. If he does that, I can at least sort of see something exciting coming for him. I am lower on Kylan than Carter is here. I don't think, even in a best case world, he is a top 5 player in the league, but I think he's a top 10 player in the league. And I think he could be first or second in the league in assists. I worry that the scoring won't be there because I think in a best case version of Illinois, with everybody being the best case version of themselves, Boswell is the true setup man and all the guys on the wing hit and become your scorers. So what that would look like to me is like maybe 11 or 12 points a game, but like 6+ assists, 6, 7 assists a game. Make his three, shoot 40% from three, and kind of just be the engine, be the offensive pass first engine of a really good team whose pieces hit elsewhere. And I think that would add up to like a second team All Big Ten appearance where he's not the best player on Illinois, but the second best player on Illinois.
So why don't you think he best case scenario he can get to that first team? I don't want to get too hung up on it, but like why couldn't he be like
Because
the
I don't,
second?
I think if this is like a best case for everybody, that's not what's best for Illinois. Like if Kylan
Gotcha.
Boswell is the scorer on this team, I think that says something about where everybody else is.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So down the list to a guy I will be higher on, Casparis Chones. Best case scenario for him.
Best case scenario. Best case scenario is he's Big Ten Player of the Year.
That's where I'm at too. There is a world here where this dude is actually a top 10 talent in college basketball and a no-brainer lottery pick. And if we're really just doing the 1% outcome, that's the best. Like he could have one transcendent season at Illinois.
Yeah, 100. I mean, if he's doing the playmaking, like if he's basically doing what he was doing at that ANGT tournament, like if he's working like that and putting up those kind of numbers, he's Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think it's scoring with the assist. That would be the big thing. Like, could he Could he get to like 15, 16 a game mixed with like 5 assists while Boswell's really still the passer and he shoots well from three? That's what I would like to see. I think it is doable. I don't think it's likely, but I think it is doable. And I think of all the players on Illinois, he's the one I keep coming back to that I feel is the highest ceiling guy here. Him or one other guy. I've one other guy that I want to throw out. Let's go down the list. So I guess we're expecting that's the starting backcourt. Who do we want to say is the starting three? You could do Trey White. You could do Ty Rodgers. You could do Rickhouse and put him at the three. I think those are the three realistic options.
I think we say Ty Rodgers, right? Like he probably starts.
The smart move would be Ty. The safe move would be Ty. What's a great season, best season for Ty Rodgers look like?
Do you remember No Joel Eastern's best year at Purdue?
I can look it up, but you scare me with this.
No. Best case scenario for Ty. To be honest with you, like he finds somewhat of a reliable jumper. I can't ever shake the fact that I saw Ty Rodgers play a lot in high school and on the AAU circuit, and the jumper's like not broken. The fact that he's a complete non-shooter just like really doesn't sit right with me. But I would say he averages 11 to 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists.
I think that's too high.
Too high in which category?
11 points. I just don't think that's Ty. I just like, and again, if it's a best case version of everybody on Illinois, I think Ty looks a lot like he did last year because everybody else hit. And he's just like the role player locker room leader guy. And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
So his best case scenario is that he's a locker room guy?
Yeah. I think so. I think so, Carr. And like a great defense guy. Nogel Eastern was a really great defense guy. He was all Big Ten defender. Like that's it. Nogel Eastern's best season was 5-4. So
that was his best year?
Yeah, he wasn't good. Wasn't good at all.
Oh, okay. All righty then.
Yeah, which is very similar to what Ty already is. And no, I'm sorry, I lied a little bit. Nogel's best year was 7 points and 5 rebounds. His junior year, his final year at Purdue was 5-4. So I think that's about it. Like get to like 7-4. Just be all first team defense. I think that's in the cards. But like captain defense, intangible bullshit. To the 4, Ben Rickhouse. This one I'm intrigued by. What's the best case ceiling for Rickhouse?
The best case ceiling, he leads Illini in scoring. Can I get away with saying that, or do I have to say a number?
I want the number, but
okay. I'm higher on Rickhouse. I'm sorry. I'm higher on Ben Humidifier than a lot of people are. I think the best case scenario is that he actually leads the Big Ten in scoring.
what's the number? You're about to, again, without giving a number, you're going to move to he leads the country in scoring. It's just getting crazier and crazier, but you won't say a number.
I think he averages like 17.5 a game.
That would feel low if that led the league in scoring.
That was probably second last year to Zach Edey's 24.
Jameer Young was up there. Boo Booey was up there.
They were probably around 18 to 20.
I'd have to look, but to me, in my head, those guys were higher than 17.5. Well, I mean, Terrence Shannon, Damask, I'd like to know where they ended up without looking. All right, 17.5 and leads the Big Ten. Like anything else with him or just a bucket?
Just a bucket. I think that's the best case scenario.
Does that, if he leads the Big Ten in scoring, is he first team All Big Ten?
So Terrence Shannon averaged 23 last season, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of good scorers in the league last year.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on the scores in the league. I just really quickly want to see what Damask averaged. Damask averaged 16.
Wasn't Bruce Thornton like 17-ish too? Like there are a lot of
Bruce Thornton was around 17, I believe.
Tyson Walker, a lot of guys.
Tyson Walker was like at 18.
You're gonna have to up this, I think, if you think he's gonna lead the Big Ten in scoring.
Bruce Thornton averaged 16 a game. Okay, you know what? Yeah, he'll lead the league in scoring with 19 a game.
Okay, that feels more likely. So in the best case world, you think whom Rickhouse leads the Big Ten in scoring. I would assume that makes him all first team Big Ten. And
Yes.
you also think Jack Shonis could be Big Ten Player of the Year, and you also think Boswell could be first team All Big Ten. So like, if they all actually hit their All Big Ten, I would assume all three of those don't happen, right? Like,
Yeah. No, no, no.
so you're going individually at the expense of other guys repeatedly.
Yeah.
Let's say they all hit their ceiling at the same time. Which one
Uh-huh.
is like the guy?
Uh, Probably Casparis.
That's
That
sort of where
should be that should be the answer, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm higher on humidifier than others are. Like I think like I feel better about what humidifier can do compared to the others.
So do you have Boswell third out of those three then of like most
Yeah.
likely? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put Ben last out of those three. If we're doing like most likely to end up first team All Big Ten, I would do Casparis one, Boswell two, whom Rickhouse three, and I could be wrong. To me, be careful on this. I'll get to my best case version, which is different than this in a moment. I think whom Rickhouse might be closer to Quincy Guerrier than he is to Marcus Damask. And everybody wants to like pencil him in as like the bucket getting Damask guy. After they got home Rickhouse, all that Brad has done since is try and get a bazillion instant impact perimeter guys. If they thought whom Rickhouse was that impact guy, do we think they would be trying to get Will Riley to classify right now? Do we think they would have dropped the bag for Casparis? Like, in my opinion, they needed one, but they didn't need two. And the fact that Brad thinks they need two points to the fact that Rickhouse might just be more of a catch and shoot role guy than he is a star. So I think there's nothing wrong with that for the record. I like the Rickhouse ad, but I think any talk of him being like a first team All Big Ten guy in the mold of Damask is disingenuous to his game versus what Damask game was coming in.
I'll accept that because you do make some very valid points, but I'll also respectfully disagree.
Yeah, I've been wrong before. Damask is the best example, but I think like making the comp to Damask because they both transferred doesn't make a lot of sense when you look at what they actually do. Um, for me, I'll say the best case version of Rickhouse is a 45% shooter from three. Just lead the Big Ten in 3-point shooting, a total no-brainer knockdown guy that I think adds up to like 13 a game as a role, like as a third option on this Illinois team. And I think that'd be a really, really good season for him. To the five, who do you think starts at the five?
Big Tom.
Tom instead of Merez?
Yeah, Big T probably starts at center.
Okay, what's the best case version for Big T?
Oh, best case version for Big T. He just makes it through the season. Nah. Mm, the best case for Big T. The thing is, like, they just never really. I mean, Kofi obviously was featured, but I don't really see them just feeding Tom like that and just being like, "Go score the ball." I'd say best case is that he leads the Big Ten in rebounding, while also like chipping in 9 points a game and like 2 blocks.
I'm gonna say like a double double. Like could he be like 11 and 10 and shoot some threes, make like a three a game?
Super best case scenario is he's better than Umar Bala.
Eh. I'm a I think a best case would be a double double. I don't want to go crazy in that because I feel like that's the interesting thing about Illinois is we're going guy by guy, being like player of the year for every single guy, and like I think it's because we don't know who the first option is, less that like these guys are actually talented enough to do that. Moving to the bench, Trey White. Best case scenario would be he starts, right? We have him off the bench, but
Yeah.
what does Trey White look like?
Best case he starts, and best case stats I think are he averaged like 14, 13 a game at Louisville. I think his best case. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Ooh. I'd say 11 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists.
Okay. So that's
I'm not. I'm
slightly down from his Louisville numbers. I would say his best case is a slight uptick from his Louisville numbers. You hope the Illinois system helps him.
would the best case for Trey White be he starts, or best case is that he's 6th man of the year in the Big Ten on a really
Best
good team?
best case is he's good enough to start for
Okay.
sure. Best case he's more valuable than Ty Rodgers, and you have to make that move.
Okay.
I'll say like 13 a game is the best case for Trey White. Kerry Booth. Well, we can kind of fly through the bench guys. There's 2 guys I want to get to though. Kerry Booth, what's the best case?
Best case for Kerry Booth is he actually carves out a rotational role on this team. So like he plays 15 plus minutes a game.
Best case is he's better than Rickhouse and starts at the 4.
Whoa.
Nobody wants to say that out loud, but
you don't believe that at all, do you?
He's a talented pedigree recruit, right? Like if the pedigree recruit stuff clicks, why would he not be better than Ben Rickhouse? Like it has to click, but like this dude's supposed to be like an NBA-ish body that can shoot a bazillion threes. Like to me, there's definitely a world he's just better than Rickhouse. But am I banking on that? No, because I didn't love what I saw from him at Notre Dame. But like if we're doing what's his ceiling is like the 3rd best player on this team, and he starts at the 4.
Valid point.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's got to make shots for that to happen. The 2 I really want to get to. What does the best case season for Merez Johnson look like?
Big Ten freshman of the year.
What are the numbers?
And he starts.
Like? What are the numbers?
Double. I'm just gonna say that. I think he averages a double. Best case. He's playing like 30. He's playing 30 minutes as a freshman. Averages a double. He's a monster. Plays, has some massive games. Like he's a monster.
Last time I was sitting outside in the backyard, we were talking Illinois basketball. I said something and I got up and I ran around. I'm really tempted to do that again, but this time it's positive. The best case version for Merez Johnson in year 1 in Champaign is he leads the country in rebounding. Averages like 14 rebounds a game. He's the best player on Illinois. He's the runaway Big Ten freshman of the year. And he's a first-team All-Big Ten player.
Sheesh.
That is the best case version. Like, could he come in and be freshman Caleb Swanigan? Yes, he could. 100% he could. Like, and I think everybody's looking around and pointing at like all these question mark guys that we've seen before, which is why when I do this exercise, the 2 guys that I keep coming back to are Casparis and Merez. I think if Illinois is the best version of themselves, those guys are better than what we've already seen from Kylan Boswell and Trey White and Ben Rickhouse and Ty Rodgers in their careers. Those guys are good guys. A lot of those guys are role guys. Like Casparis could be a star, and Merez Johnson is a star. I'll just say it straight up. I think this dude's one of my favorite recruits I've seen come through the Big Ten in forever. And we're really focused on year 2 because of Jeremiah Fears, and it should be special. Year 1 might just be special too. This dude's an absolute no-brainer stud who outworks everybody across from him, is the most productive rebounder at the high school level I've seen in years, and I think is going to be impossible to take off the floor on this team.
I mean, I'm just as big a Merez believer as you. That is his ceiling because he is that good.
And I think of all the ceilings we've said, I'm more confident Merez hits his than anybody else we've talked about, including Casparis.
In year 1, too?
In year 1. I am convinced this kid is can't miss. And we've seen Brad be great with freshmen. Like, honestly, going through the guys, even the guys that flamed out, their best season for Illinois was their freshman season. Like, Andre Curbelo was good as a freshman. Like, Io was great as a freshman. Kofi, incredible as a freshman. Bye-bye, Georgie Basanisvili. This guy's here, and he's better than you. Like, Merez might just be that from day 1. He might be the most talented player on this team, and I'm excited to see it. And the last one is Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn.
Honestly, best case scenario is that Kylan Boswell is just like actually not that good, and Dre steps up.
I'll give you what I think is more realistic than that, because I think Kai's proven at this point on winning teams. It would be Casparis is a total bust.
And Gibbs-Lawhorn just picks up the slack.
Casparis shows up and straight up can't play, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
but that would be the world. Is like Casparis shows up and he's terrified. He's Jan Vide from UCLA last year. And you have to play DGL, and then DGL ends up earning 30 minutes and scores double figures. Like, I think that could happen if that happened.
What percentage would you put on that?
Higher than people think.
Okay. Because of Casparis or because Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn is that good?
Because Dre's that good. I still believe in Dre's talent. Like a year ago, you were calling this kid Carson Edwards.
I still think he is.
Could be. He could be. It could happen. Yeah, double figure scoring, I think would be the best case. So as a team, if whatever the most likely combination of that best case stuff happens for you, what does Illinois' team look like? What do they do?
They win the Big Ten.
How far do they go in March?
They for sure make the second weekend, ceiling probably like Elite Eight. So a repeat of last year is probably the best case scenario, honestly. But with, the winning of maybe the Big Ten regular season or having a more successful Big Ten regular season.
Best case, they make a Final Four. It looks a lot like Alabama's Final Four last year, where like they were good, never great during the regular season, but everything clicks at the right time. They make a special run. And it's kind of the year after the year, right? I always talk about that. A lot of times when people think it's supposed to be the year, the next year is actually when the results happen. Could happen. I don't think I see a best case. I guess I see a best case. Illinois could win the Big Ten. I don't think that's as likely as making a Final Four, though. I think it's more likely they like get a good draw and win 4 games than it is over a 20-game sample size they win this league.
I'd agree with it.
Yeah. Okay. There's your best case, Illini fans. Positivity week. Wasn't that fun, Cart?
No.
Can we do worst case tomorrow?
Yes.